Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the Chronicles Dallas Cowboy podcast. I'm Troy Hill, and tonight we're joined by Ron, aka the Starstruck fan. Lisa and Kyle are out on special assignment. But anywho, we're celebrating the Cowboys' victory. The Cowboys are triumphant in a victory 49-17 over the New York Giants. Started off a little rocky. I was a little nervous in the beginning, but they settled. They settled relatively quickly, and they got everything under control. What's your thoughts on it, Ron?
Yeah, never was in doubt. I think I stated last week it might have even been captured in the show conclusion there. I was like, yeah, expect the second half to kind of be a sleeper. I said it's going to be a Netflix and chill type of thing in the second half. And I just didn't expect that it would be close at all. And the Cowboys did not let me down in that area. And they did what they needed to do.
Yes, and I think they got some necessary reps. Some needed reps. In this game to try and perfect some
Yes,
things, specifically the offensive line. You know,
indeed.
yeah, I mean, I think they got a lot of work and a lot of good work. Definitely not as many penalties. I never felt at any moment of the game that Dak was not safe, in the backfield. So that's always good. The running game picked it up. Not full fledged way we want it to be, but there were some signs of life. I guess my first question for you this evening, Ron, is just the carries between Dottle and Pollard. Do you think at this point that Dottle should be getting more carries than Pollard, or you think it should be more of a mix still, or what are your thoughts?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I did see a page out there and I kind of gave my input, but they were kind of saying that, you know what, uh, Tony Pollard, he's running back. He's just not an RB1. Dowdle definitely needs to become the RB1 now. He showcased that. And I said, slow down, pump your brakes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not going to consider Tony Pollard a running back one, I don't think we need to consider Rico Dowdle a running back one either. I don't think I've seen enough out of Rico Dowdle to and I even likened this to say I've seen something similar to this before with this team. When you follow this team for many years, you start to see stuff
Yep.
that look like it comes back around. And it
Mm-hmm.
looks like our running back, our backfield reminds me of the time, and I don't know if you remember this pretty vividly, but when we had Julius Jones and Marion Barber in our backfield.
Absolutely.
Neither one of
Absolutely.
them were RB1, but together they were pretty dynamic when you mixed it up and you had a pretty even mix of carries and put them in the right situations. They were able to get things done. I think they both may have had like 600, maybe one had 500, another had like 700 yards, but together they were able to get over that 1,000 yard mark as a combination backfield. But to give it to Rico Dowdle and kind of put Tony Pollard back in a role similar to what he had last year with Zeke, I'm not sure. I think Tony Pollard could probably handle that. I just don't know if Rico Dowdle can get the increase and be able to produce like we saw. Because keep in mind, this was the Giants. So
Yes.
everything that we saw that looked so fantastic, the Ceedee Lamb, number one wide receiver in the NFL, self-dubbed, and definitely he's up there. But all the stuff we saw, the Dak Prescott numbers, the QBR, the 400 yards, we still have to keep this thing in perspective that it was the New York Football Giants. So
True. Very, very true. It is the New York Football Giants, but at the same time, it is a team
yeah,
that's in the NFL, and it's a
yeah,
team, and it's a team also the Philadelphia Eagles play twice like we do. So the way I look at it, I mean, they're still a team.
yes,
And in the grand scheme of things, these are things that you want to see your team improve upon,
oh
especially
yeah,
at this point in the season where you're starting to hit your stride.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
am I going to open up the floodgates and say it's time to start talking Dak Prescott MVP talk? No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But Dak is playing out of his mind right
Oh
now.
yeah.
And I just really like the way he's playing. I mean, I like how he's utilizing his feet. I mean, I'm more comfortable. I'm like comfortable and settled with it now
You're
because I mean,
getting
I don't.
comfortable.
Well,
Yeah.
people. I mean, it's not because I didn't think he could do it. It's because
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
I knew because he got hurt. He
Yes,
got hurt, and
exactly.
and I
Yes.
mean, and him being one of your number one resources. You don't want to put him at
Yeah.
risk either.
I
But
get that. Yeah.
so I mean, my viewpoint was more of a safety
Yeah, I hear
viewpoint for
you.
him. But
It's
back
been
to
30 years, Troy. You got a
yeah, I know.
reason to feel that way.
No, well, yeah, but back to the
We feel
Donald.
like we're close.
Yeah, yeah. But back to Donald and Pollard. I'm with you 100% on that. It does look very familiar to JJ, Julius Jones, and Marion Barber. I mean, and Donald, man, he runs so angry, and I just
Yeah.
love it. But I
Yeah.
don't. You can't. There's not a player on earth that can run consistently like that. You know,
Yeah.
and not break down. And I
Yeah.
think there's another thing about Pollard too is that one, he's probably still not 100% from the injury.
Yeah.
So that might get a little bit better for him towards the end of the season. Number two, there's like people quietly saying that he will not be back next year because of performance. Pollard could rush for over 1,000 yards right now, and he's still not going to be back next year because we're not going to pay him. And I
Yeah.
think that's the one thing that our fan base needs to understand.
Yeah.
Pollard will not be back, and it won't have anything to do with performance.
He's got a better chance of coming back if he does not perform at elite level than if he does.
True. But still, I mean, that
Yeah.
still might be a hefty price tag just for him just to come back with, his numbers
Yeah.
not being that great. I mean,
I don't know, unless he does a little, we work some magic like we did with Jalen Smith or one of those moves we did where we were to bring LVE back for like a couple of years or whatever. Maybe we just sign him for something small. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe he'll
Yeah,
be conservative and say, you know what, I don't want all the big. I don't know. I'm thinking, what guy's really gonna think like that, But
yeah.
especially, yeah. So,
I mean, I think, like I said before on this show, I think it's still, I think a lot of it, as far as the running game goes, has just been our offensive line, and they're improving, and we kind of forgot, it's like, yeah, we got this team, we got this foundation back, but they still didn't get all the reps they needed to get with each other playing again. So I mean, it is some improvement there, so that's a good
yeah,
thing. But getting back to Dak Prescott, I mean, he's playing lights out.
yeah,
And like I said, I'm not trying to. I mean, my opinion has not changed about this man. But I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to go crazy with it either and say that that he just belongs in the conversation of awards and all that stuff neither. Because that's the first thing people start saying. Well, he did throw that interception. Well, your hero Cooper Rush came in and threw one too. So, which I still don't understand the Cooper Rush thing. But CeeDee Lamb, what was it? 100? How many yards did he get?
CeeDee Lamb. Oh my goodness, what
It was
was
like
he? He
100.
was like 11 catches, 151 yards,
And this is the
and a
third time.
touchdown.
It was the third time in a row he's done this, which is now an
Yeah.
NFL record's
Yep.
a thing.
Right.
But the thing is, I mean, he's playing big. I mean, he might not have been a number one in the beginning of the season. But he's damn sure number one now.
He's our number one. I don't know what
Yeah,
everybody else is going to consider him around the league. Doesn't really matter with the other 31 teams, but he's on the Dallas Cowboys. Guess what? He's our wide receiver one.
yeah. We might have that legit number two now with Cooks with his performance because they
Yeah.
figured out how to free him open as well. So
Again,
I mean,
we've got to look at it. I think I want to see this week because the Panthers they're not much more than the Giants, but to me I think they present a little bit more on the defensive side.
mhm,
So I'm interested to see with a little bit more heat turned up. It's not going to be a lot more heat. It's
mhm,
going to be a little warmer,
mhm.
and I just want to see what we look like over this next couple of weeks. But we gotta keep it in perspective. It was the New York Giants.
True, but I mean, again, I mean, yeah, it's true. But my only argument is that Philadelphia beats the Giants. Nobody's sitting there saying it's just the Giants. Those games are usually a lot closer than it is when between the Cowboys and the Giants or whatever. But I think the potential threat to this upcoming game with the Panthers is just the lack of familiarity of the
Yeah,
team itself. I
yeah,
mean, we got tape upon tape of the Giants and
mhm,
teams that we compete against all the time. And the
exactly.
Panthers are not a team that we see that often.
Yeah,
So that, I mean, it could present some challenges.
yes.
But I mean, we do have to go out there. We do have to perform. On the defensive side of the ball, I thought the Cowboys did great. Um, didn't hear much from Micah Parsons because it seemed like he was getting held quite a lot that they weren't calling. But I don't know. With me and my perspective, the talent level of a Micah Parsons, to me, sometimes it's like refreshing just seeing everybody else doing their job and not hearing Micah Parsons' name nonstop. Does that make any
Exactly.
sense? I mean,
And no,
what's your
it
thought?
makes
What's your
sense.
thoughts on that?
No, you make absolute sense. Sometimes you don't have to hit the stat books. A perfect example of that. Demarcus Lawrence. I mean, for so many times, we would always hear pressures, but you don't keep track of pressures.
Hmm.
And I was one of those individuals that kind of got it like, hey man, I want to see more sacks out of this guy. But the pressures we realize are just as effective. And just because we did not see a whole lot out of Micah from the stat books and highlight perspective, climbing and doing his lion crawl all over the ground,
Hmm.
it was because he was taking on a lot of blocks and it was freeing up everybody else to have a field day. And sometimes, as
Yes.
long as that is happening, it doesn't really matter because the team is focusing on him. So you want your other guys to start getting on the stat books, and if they're not, that's when there's an issue.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm glad that you've opened your mind to the idea of pressures. I mean, because we've been talking about this for a few seasons now,
You and
and
Dak scrambling, and me with pressures. We've all opened up our minds this season.
yes, we've opened our minds some, but yeah, I just always looked at it as like what I mean, what's in the quarterback's head? Is it them getting tackled that one time or those 5 times, or somebody's like putting a hand on them or just like right up in their face
Yes.
nonstop, and I think,
Yeah.
I think it's like the next best thing to sacking somebody,
Yeah, because we
so
oftentimes they're getting rid of that ball still a lot quicker because they think they're about to get sacked by you. So
hmm
they're throwing that ball and getting rid of it faster than they want to.
Bland again, another excellent performance. He had
Yes.
another interception.
Yes.
Is he the interception leader?
I believe so. If last I checked, I think he was leading the NFL. I think he's got like five interceptions now, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, I mean, special teams is actually looking good too. I mean, remember back in the day where you just never thought about the Cowboys blocking punts, but it just seems like now they always got a shot, or they come pretty close if they don't do it.
Yes.
So it just seems
Everything.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it seems like the things that
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh,
well,
Siri in the background joining the broadcast.
welcome Siri. No,
Sponsored by.
well, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like if there's such the thing of being like one step behind in some things and stuff, it's like some of the things that they're one step behind that is not that bad.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
we're scoring on reverses.
man, I'm telling you, that one play that they ran with a Ceedee Lamb, that play was lovely. And like I've always been one saying reverses don't work,
Yeah.
sweeps don't work. But now, I mean, hell, they're starting to work for the Cowboys. They're like these little things.
Yeah.
And we also got to acknowledge the catch of Ceedee
Oh yeah.
Lamb,
Oh yeah.
getting he's basically literally one hand, other arms being pinned back by the
Yeah.
defense. I mean, it's just some really good stuff all the way across the board.
Some elite 88ism.
Yes, yeah, that definitely had playmaker all over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And
mean, you
Deron
can't.
Bland is number 2 in interceptions right now. He's behind Geno Stone, looks like, in the NFL.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, there's lots
One.
of.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and Gilmore was, made some plays too. So
Yeah.
I just can't. It's hard for me to sit there and be negative about any of this thing. I
Mhm.
just thought overall, all the way across the board, we did a pretty good damn job. And
Mhm.
and granted, yes, it is the Giants. I understand that, but you still, I mean, these are things you still want to see, whether you're playing against the Niners or if you're playing against the Giants. You just want to see
Yeah.
solid football all the way across the board. I mean,
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to see them limping out of a victory with the job. I'd be more concerned if they were limping out of a victory against the
Yeah.
Giants.
Hmm.
you know. But we got the Panthers coming up next. So, I mean, besides them with the lack of familiarity of the team, what are the thoughts you have about the Panthers? I mean, I think it's just going to be a win. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, I think we're going to win too. I just don't know if we're going to jump out to the 28-0 like we did on the Giants. It is quite possible because I really don't know much about Bryce Young. I've seen a little bit of highlights and things, and I know he's got a size. With his size that's been causing him some problems this year in the NFL, and we've got a pretty big line. Demarcus Lawrence, those guys coming in, so that may cause some problems. It could get out of hand. I'm hoping that it gets out of hand here early. I
Hmm.
just don't know. It's one of those things. I'm kind of like the team. Well, the team's got a little bit more heads up on me because I know they've got film. I don't really have as much film and looking at it as an intent as them. But I know they don't have as familiarity with them, and it's just as myself. I don't either. I just know their defense is, to me, I think is going to be a little bit more than what we saw out of the Giants, and I think that's what I want to see is when a little bit more fire is added to our offense because some things I saw in the Giants game again, we did have the interception by Dak, which
Hmm.
in a game like that, still, that's what we see in games like against the 49ers. Didn't see it against the Eagles. But those mistakes, so you kind of still don't want to see that against a team like the Giants. And then we had two opportunities, I believe, in the red zone that we didn't capitalize on against the Giants as
Hmm.
well. That against a little bit stiffer defense, I want to see what we're going to do in the red zone. Can we get in the end zone and not kick as many field goals or any field goals this week against the Panthers?
Yeah, well, I tell you right now, that first series, I would have went for the field goal because there was no threat at that point, to me. And I'm not, and I didn't really need to. I didn't. I mean, to me, in my mind, there's like no reason to try and set any foundation where you're a home team, where you're 11 and
Yeah,
one at home. Just go ahead and take the 3 points and go on about it. You know, I mean,
yeah,
that's just me. I mean, I understand. I mean, I understand that. Yeah, we want the six and stuff, but I mean, there's no threat at that point.
yeah.
Just go ahead and collect your points as they fall at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, you do that against a team that you don't know when the next opportunity is going to come. With the Giants, you can kind of think next possession we should be back down there again. If it's a team with a better defense, then maybe yeah, you're going to try to punch that in and get that seven.
Yeah,
But take the three and know you're going to get the ball back and add on to that lead.
yeah, because it's not like. I mean, I could understand. Okay, if the Giants just rent down the field, scored a touchdown immediately after that, you're down by 7 with still a full football game to play, and I'd rather have that 7 point deficit in the beginning of the game than towards the end of the game. For whatever reason, So I don't know, but like I said, I do think. I mean, I'm not worried about Carolina Panthers at all. I'm more worried about waking up at noon to watch the game because I hate noon games.
Yes.
I mean, the noon game is not fun. And then immediately after that, I mean, the Cowboys are not going to have much time after that game because they had to prepare for who do we got on Thanksgiving again?
The Commanders.
Ooh, the Washington Commanders, and that's going to
Yes.
be that has an interesting type of deal. I mean, Washington could have just did one thing for me last week, though. I'm a big believer in the Cowboys just need to do what they're supposed to do and everything will be fine. But
Yeah.
if they could have beat the Seahawks,
Yeah.
you know, because that's going to be my concern as we get further into this thing.
Yes.
I mean, because I don't want that Arizona loss to come back to haunt us
Yeah. Yeah.
because I could easily see that happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's your thoughts on that before we close?
Yeah, and just kind of looking at how he said it, looking at the playoff picture, as of right now, and I said this a few weeks ago when that Arizona Cardinals loss happened, I said that our fan base has a tendency, it's only one game, it's not the season, and I said, but with this team, the Cowboys, one game seems to hit harder with this team than it does with any other team in the league
Mm-hmm.
because of how close, tight that our division races can be. How the NFC is kind of like every team, it's up for grabs. Those 6 or 7 seeds, and right now, that is where we are.
Yeah, yeah, and you already
We're
got
six and
that.
three. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you lose to Seattle, so then
Yeah.
they got Seattle as a tiebreaker on you, and the 49ers got a
Yeah.
tiebreaker on you too.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
like null and void. Just kind of puts you at the last seed no matter
Exactly.
what.
So right now we're at number 6. We're 6 and 3, and we're tied with the Seahawks, who are 6 and 3. We beat the Cardinals. We're up a game on those guys. We're
Yeah.
up a game, and so right now, yeah, we're chasing that game for the last several weeks. We've been chasing that game.
And we absolutely have to. I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But Seattle is a game that we have to win. I
Yes.
mean, we just have to. Because if
Yes.
we don't, I don't know where we're going to be at. Because you got a couple bottom teams that's in the hunt. It's like about 2 games out from that spot.
Well,
But all it takes is just a couple of
yeah.
slip ups,
Yeah.
and we could be
Well, you got
bounced right out.
Minnesota that just came out of nowhere now. And,
Yeah.
I don't know if we've got anybody else that we really got to kind of worry about right now. You got the Commanders. They're trying to hang around with 4 wins, and the Bucks. So I think we're good to kind of stay in that 7th seed, but we've got some 3 tough games that are going to come up down the stretch. That Seattle game, what is it, Miami and Buffalo, I believe, 3-game stretch
And then you
that,
got
like you said, could flip.
and then you
Yeah.
got Detroit.
Yes,
Because you
and
never know.
Detroit,
Because
four games.
you never know what it could look like at the end of the season. That last 2 weeks when it's like
Yes.
Detroit and the Vikings for one,
Yes,
and Seattle and the Niners. We could
yes,
get bounced out.
yeah. It is. We're chasing that one game, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's not just I agree with you. It's not just a game. I mean, it's just not one game. Because that could hurt us tremendously before it's all said and done. And
Yes.
I'm gonna be irritated if it does. But anyways, you got anything else for the people this evening?
I think other than just what we saw, we got everybody to show up, which was good. D-Law got into the sack stat, thing. I've criticized that. But against a team like the Giants, it was good to see that he got in. He got a sack in. Ozzy, was putting his pressures on. I believe he got a sack in there as well. Dak's efficiency. We were able to see him. The field was looking very wide open for him. And yeah, and then Michael Gallup. He had just been a ghost for like the past month or so. He got in, and then you got Jalen Brooks that kind of got some reps in because of, I guess, Turpin being out. So you got the wide receiver Brooks to get in there and get some experience. So it was a good game as far as what we needed to kind of bounce back from the loss that we had, very close loss. So I think it was a much needed game to be on the schedule, and those guys took advantage of it. And to me, it really looked like an extra training camp game. When you see our guys getting mossed on, and you're like, yeah, we're beating our own guys in practice. It was a good feeling to be beating up on somebody and wasn't our guys in practice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, like all the way across the board and stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to continue to improve them. It seems like they're hitting their stride.
Indeed.
Definitely want them to see. I want to see even more pre-snap motion now.
Yes.
And
stuff we've been asking for, they're finally doing it.
Yep.
And it's working. They're seeing that it is working.
Yep. And I wanna try and get Vaughn involved in the other guy too.
Yes.
I know they've been putting him in as a fullback, the lead block, which has been nice. But I just want to try and get all those guys involved and stuff. I just want to be able to hit you like on any angle,
Yes.
I mean, and we got the talent to do it. It's just we need to just start just working it in and start practicing on that stuff, because at the end of the day, I mean, this is the only really practice that they're getting is some of these like lower level games. That's the only real practice they're getting. They ain't doing nothing at regular practice.
Yes.
I mean, they're not doing a damn thing.
Exactly.
But anyways, as always, it's fun talking about Dallas Cowboy football. But on behalf of myself and Ron, aka the Starstruck Fan, we'd like to wish you guys a wonderful week. And we got, like I said, I got Carolina up ahead. And we'll see you guys next time here at the Star Chronicles Dallas Cowboy podcast. And I got one more thing to say. How about them Cowboys? Wait, no. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?